Well, Lighthouse, can I once again remind you to send questions to questions@lighthousebaptist.net. Would love to hear what you're thinking and hear what you're thinking about while we're all separate and have a good conversation together. Well, today we're going to continue our study, our devotions in Proverbs 3. And this is kind of a hymn to wisdom. It's a poem, a song written to the glory of wisdom. And we've heard this kind of thing before in Proverbs 1 and 2. And so I would like to just kind of read it and again just glory in the fact that wisdom is a thing we can pursue and the value of it and the quality of it and all of that. But then when we get down to verse 19, we are going to hear something brand new that is going to change everything about the way we pursue knowledge, how we know what we know, and what it is in life that's valuable to learn and what it is that's valuable to live by. So starting in chapter 3 of Proverbs, verse 13, it says this: blessed is the one who finds wisdom. Again, blessed. This is what this is all about. Proverbs are not the book of how you can get your act together. Proverbs is the book of how you can live the best, freest, most enjoyable life. So blessed, lucky, fortunate, on the right track, living the best life is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. You know, some of this is like, doesn't that make sense? Like, you know who's living the best life? The people who understand the most things. The people who know how the world works. It's not the person sitting over there in the corner, like with their own self-confidence, even though they haven't learned very much. No, it's rather the person who has learned a bunch of stuff, is a learned person who's been paying attention and who kind of knows how the world works. They're the ones that are living the best life. So blessed is the one who finds wisdom and the one who gets understanding. For the gain from her is better than gain from silver, and her profit better than gold. So again, wisdom is personified as a woman, and if we will buy what she's selling, it's more valuable than gold. There are a lot of people with plenty of gold, with plenty of silver, that would not say they're living a blessed life. That would tell you, yeah, I got everything I wanted, and I found out this is not at all what I wanted, because they were working off of a wrong idea about wisdom. So Proverbs says wisdom itself is like this woman who is trying to help you live a good life if you will just pay attention. And you remember from earlier, ignore all those other voices that have wrong ideas. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. What if that was all you heard? Nothing that you desire. What do you want? A promotion. You want to live in a better place. You want to live with better people. You want new skills. The Proverbs are here to say, do you want to live the blessed life? Nothing that you desire is going to get you further in life than wisdom. You want to live the best life? It's great to pursue all kinds of stuff. But if you don't end up wise, if you don't end up with that ability to understand the way the world works, it's not going to matter. Verse 16, long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honor. So pursuing riches and honor, pursuing long life don't equal wisdom. But pursuing wisdom many times does equal more life. Pursuing wisdom many times does equal more provision, riches and honor. So the idea is, look, don't go after riches and honor and make them your God. Don't go after long life and make it your God. You'll end up with nothing. Instead, search after wisdom and see if that doesn't end up providing a better life for you. So practical. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and her paths are of peace. That's how you can recognize her. Pleasantness, peace. Not war, not violence. Okay. She is a tree of life. Oh, wisdom is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. To those who hold her fast are called blessed. Wisdom doesn't stop giving. The big idea about a tree is that it bears fruit in its season. An apple tree is not a one-time thing. An apple tree, year after year, is going to provide food for the family that owns it. Wisdom is like that. You grow in wisdom and it will continue to provide for you. Now, the question then is, I imagine if you ask the pastor and you ask the seminary professor and you ask the philosophy professor and you ask the economics professor and you ask the history professor, and you can ask the experts in a lot of different fields and say, what is the foundational wisdom of the world? Teach me how the world works. And you might get very different answers. And that's one of the challenges of Proverbs is this is one particular ancient wisdom model. This is the ancient Hebrews based on Yahweh, their God, the living God whose son Jesus died on the cross. It is their wisdom model that we're reading in Proverbs. And I bet you that I've read some stuff so far, and we're certainly going to read some stuff that somebody in the world would go, that's just dumb. No, that's not real wisdom. I'll tell you what real wisdom is you should look out for number one. The biggest dog in the fight wins. He who dies with the most toys wins. Like, if you're not happy, end your marriage. If your emotions change, then all of reality changes. Don't ground your stuff on the scriptures. Rather, ground your decision making, the seat of wisdom. Don't make the seat of wisdom God or the scriptures. Make your heart the seat of wisdom. How do you know? How do you know which is the truth? This gets down to the epistemological argument. Like, how do I know what I know? What is the foundation of knowledge? How can I trust that this version of the truth is the true version of the truth? Well, Proverbs 3:19 says this: "The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the deeps broke open, and the clouds dropped down the dew." So, the author of Proverbs says this: the Lord by wisdom founded the earth. That in the same way, there is a certain set of physical principles upon which this earth is founded. Now, you might not agree with gravity, but if you live your life ignoring gravity, you will suffer. We might even say, blessed is the person who understands gravity. In fact, the more you understand gravity, we can't fly a plane without an understanding of gravity. We can't send a rocket ship to the moon without an understanding of it. We certainly can't stand up and walk without some level of an understanding of gravity. We might say somebody who ignores gravity is not going to live a blessed life. They're going to keep jumping off of high things and going, I don't know what happened when they fall down. We might say the person who understands gravity best is going to live a better life, is living a blessed life. And there's lots of things like that. You think of an electrical engineer who understands how electricity works. And you go, there are rules, foundational things upon which physics is founded. Like, you dig down far enough and you understand an ohm is an ohm and an amp is an amp and a volt is a volt. And the better you understand these things, the more freedom you experience in the world. Well, so the physical laws, that's the way knowledge and wisdom work too. That God's wisdom is the wisdom upon which the earth is founded. So when you run into a difference in wisdom models, maybe somebody might say, no, I don't think trust in the Lord with all your heart and he will make your path straight. I don't think that's wise. I think you should follow your heart. I think you should trust in yourself and not trust in God. Well, those are two divergent wisdom models. One wisdom model says, trust God and lean not on your own understanding. Don't just pay attention to what you see and what you hear. Rather, trust God. The other one says, the Bible is an ancient book, and I think you should follow your heart. If you feel like it, do it. Now, those are absolutely opposed to each other. And how do we know which one of those is true? Well, first of all, do some observation and figure out what you think is true. But at the end of the day, Proverbs is going to say this: the reason trusting in the Lord instead of trusting in your heart is true is because that is a foundational truth on which the earth was founded. In the same way that you cannot ignore gravity and live a blessed life, you cannot ignore the fact that we were built not to trust in ourselves and in our own understanding, but rather we were built to trust in the Lord. That we were built to flee from sin. That we were built to live a godly, biblical life, and that would lead to flourishing. Now again, there are lots of people that would say, I don't think a biblical life would lead to flourishing. Well, Proverbs says this is not just a matter of a moral discussion. There is a right and a wrong answer. And this is really goes against the culture of our world that would say, I think the modern take on epistemology is just that, especially, postmodern deconstruction just says, here's the deal. Words can mean what you want them to mean. Ideas can mean what you want them to mean. Like, you are the one who decides what is truth for you. Well, the Bible has the exact opposite idea. The Bible says this: there is a morality, there is a wisdom, there is a knowledge upon which the earth was built. And our job is not to go through life going, what do I think about this? How do I feel about morality or truth? But rather to say, in the same way that the more I understand about the physical laws of the universe, the more I'll be able to use those laws for my benefit and flourishing. The same thing is true for knowledge and wisdom. The more I understand about the wisdom and knowledge upon which the world was built, the irrefutable, moral, ethical, wisdom, knowledge, laws of the universe, the more thriving they'll be in my life. So, my friends, follow your heart, or trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your own understanding. Which one of those truths do you think the universe was built on?